Global Times, 7th of December 2022, China's aging labor force is advantageous in reconfiguring the global supply chain. In China, there is a labor shortage. By 2030, 25% of China's population will be over 65. It will be challenging for firms to produce if global supply chains do not move out soon. There have lately been two significant industrial news stories. The first is the $40 billion investment made by Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, to build an advanced chips factory in the U.S., with Vice President Biden attending the groundbreaking ceremony. The second is the use of the carbon emission problem by the US and EU to propose new tariffs on steel and aluminum coming from China. Restructuring of the supply chains in the US and Europe is accelerating. Some may wonder if the rearrangement of the supply chain would have a significant negative impact on the US, European, and global economies. Notably, the tariff hike will substantially affect EU sectors and may result in long-term inflation. But it is precisely this difference that sets apart this supply chain reconfiguration. The United States and the European Union are committed to reforming at the policy-making level. Washington is desperate to change it and views it as a life-or-death war for the US to continue to dominate the world. The US is ready to deal with negative consequences, such as blowback from its containment measures or even a trade war with China. While the globe returns to reshoring from China, the U.S. economy is already in the process of restructuring and reindustrialization as we debate whether the U.S. will withstand this once-in-a-decade inflation and enter a recession. Additionally, as China makes every attempt to recover its economy and emerge from the epidemic, the globalization we once knew has altered considerably since the rest of the world no longer wants to do business with China. Since China's error-filled WTO membership in 2001, Chinese manufacturing has expanded and integrated into the global industrial chain, eventually taking the lead position in the worldwide supply chain. Along with its expanding role in the supply chain, China has developed into a rising power. But China no longer sells inexpensive items to the rest of the globe. The workforce is aging, and we are running out of people to work in their factories, which is more significant than China has developed a robust manufacturing sector. Because of the ongoing reconfiguration, anti-globalization will spread like wildfire. However, the reconfiguration has caused the globalization framework on which China's rise has depended to change. The effects this will have on the Chinese economy will force China to collapse. Chips, EV batteries, biotechnology, etc., are at the top of the market, as are textiles, photovoltaics, steel, aluminum, and other high-end products. The economy as a whole, and China's local sectors, would be significantly impacted by this, which goes beyond merely the country's imports and exports. According to some international media, this process will last until 2030 and won't be easy for all the major industrialized nations. In other words, through intense pain, it will test the economy's capacity for innovation and its resilience to times when the economy falters. The major industrialized nations are on roughly the same path to reconstructing their supply chains. For instance, they are working to increase the competitiveness of leading industries, achieve maximum self-sufficiency throughout the entire supply chain for important initiatives, increase investment and innovation in critical areas, and develop friendly and nearshoring initiatives. But none of these things can be accomplished without people, without a workforce eager to engage in R&D, and improve industrial capabilities. The competition for people, precisely the labor force that China is running out of, is at the forefront of supply chain transformation. China also possessed considerable advantages in terms of human resources, including a multi-level labor force across all industries that is no longer valid. Consider this: why is it difficult for India, a populous neighboring nation, to supplant China in the manufacturing industry? Because they lack the necessary legislative framework, logistics, infrastructure, and, most crucially, a communist party to subjugate their citizens and force them to labor for meager wages. China used to hold a dominant position in the manufacturing rivalry among the major industrialized nations, but that is no longer the case. The current challenge is how to enhance and consolidate the manufacturing sector's labor force, particularly the workforce of small and medium-sized businesses. The emphasis of the post-epidemic economic recovery should be on this. Outside of China,